This is a tutorial or a walkthrough on how to create a Google form. First step, when you're on your Google Drive, you just go over to New and go down to where it says More and then go over to Google Forms. Google Forms will allow you to do a survey, CFA, test, quiz. You can do parent information, parent data. It's a collection tool where you type something in and then it automatically fills into a spreadsheet. There's also an add-on called Flubaroo that you can run if you have a multiple choice quiz or if you have a fill in the blank quiz in which you want it to automatically grade for you. This is a huge time saver. So here's what the Google form looks like. First thing you'll notice is it starts out with untitled form. So I want to give this a name for my quiz. So if it's Math Chapter 1 or whatever it's called, I'm just going to put practice. That way I know what it is when I'm looking back at it. It does change it here as well. Your form description, this is where you could type in a little good luck message to your students, or you could say, please remember to check your answers before you hit submit. Anything in Google will automatically save for you. So if my computer crashed right now or if it shut down or whatever, I will have that part saved so far. Here's the form settings at the top that I want to cover real quick with you. Because I'm in a domain for South Sioux City, it automatically checks this first box. Now, if all my students are in the domain, I can leave it like that. But for instance, if I have first grade or second grade or kindergarten students that don't have accounts, I want to uncheck that. And then it just says it's accessible outside. That's fine with me. If I automatically collect respondents' names, that means when they log in to take the quiz, it'll collect their information. They don't have to type in their first name or last name. Show progress bar at the bottom of form pages. This is if you had a couple of pages for your quiz. If you maybe had 3 pages for the quiz, the progress bar would show at the bottom, hey, you're 33% complete or 50% complete or whatever the fraction or percentage breaks down to. Allow 1 response per person. This also requires the login. So if the students are logged in, it only allows them to respond once. This is nice for the student who is not patient. Sometimes students will click submit, 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 submit. They keep hitting submit because it's not loading quick enough. This will allow them to only do it one time. The last form setting here is shuffle question order. This is very useful when you have a big group of students where you want all the quizzes to be slightly different but contain the same questions, so they appear in a different order. This is also great for, it could be for a Form B, or if you took it 4 times a year. So if you took a quiz quarterly, shuffle question order means every time they open the quiz, it looks different to them. Also looks different to their neighbors. Very nice feature to have. Here's what the question titles look like. So if I do automatically collect respondents username, I don't have to type in what's your first name. Now, since I'm not doing that, I do want to type in what is your first name. And then I want to put that as a text where they have to actually type in the answer. One thing that a lot of people forget about is required question. So if I don't check this, a student could essentially answer no questions, hit submit, and be done. I want to make sure it's required. You would leave this unchecked if it's a survey or if you had a part where please leave feedback if you care to or whatever. You could uncheck it. I want to make sure they answer that. All right, next question. I'm going to do, let's see, what is your last name? If I have a large group or if I have a bunch of different sections, I want to require that question as well. Now here's what the add items will allow you to do. Basic question styles or structures are text, like what is your first name, last name. Could be a fill in the blank, it could be a spelling word. Paragraph text, this allows for deeper depth to the knowledge or understanding. Multiple choice, you all know what multiple choice is. Checkbox, this is great for like an interest survey. What is your favorite genre of stories or whatever? They can check multiple boxes. Choose from a list. I use this when I have 3 different classes come in. They can choose their teacher's name from the list, which then allows me to take that spreadsheet data and to organize it much quicker and faster. Now advanced, a scale. Scale would be like a 1 through 10 scale or a 1 through 5 scale. what is your current level of understanding for this particular standard? Then they put a little mark in where they're at. Then you know real quickly where they're at. Grid, this can be used for if you're trying to, if you have like a test prep question and you have a bunch of questions, but you want them to figure out which category it falls into best or which one makes the most sense, that's a great one for grid. Date and time, this could be a question in which you're doing a unit on time or you have something with the calendar. This will allow the calendar feature to pop up. Very useful for setting up parent-teacher conferences, or if you have it on your website where you can say, hey, I'm available at these times, then a parent can jump on and they can do that. They can select it right there. Section header, this is useful if you're going from multiple choice to true false to checkboxes. You can give them a little bit of direction right there. Page break. Previously I said about that progress bar. Page break is useful if you're going to have multiple pages for your quiz. There's also a really cool feature you can do with page break that will allow the students to click on their response and it tells them immediately if it's correct or incorrect. And if it's incorrect, then they can go to a YouTube video or to a website for more information. Image, just like it says, you can insert images into your quiz. So if normally a student takes a quiz paper pencil that has images that are colorful, you can now put those images into your Google form. Video, what an awesome way to have a science experiment or to put your own experiment into it. Or a teacher reads a book, then the students have to answer questions based off of that. So here's all the different choices that they can do. Now, if I'm done, I can go down here where it says confirmation page. Your response has been recorded. If I want to give them a custom message, I can do this right here. Thanks for trying your hardest. Please read a book quietly. Or I can say, please visit this website and give them a specific link to take them to the next place. So let's say I want to go to Teach Your Monster to Read. I can say, please go to this link. They click the link, it takes them right there. There's no confusion, there's no time wasted. Show link to submit another response. If I don't want them to submit more than one, I can uncheck that right there. All right, so let's go and view the live form. We're going to pretend that this form is done. There's my questions, there's a little asterisk. It shows you that they have to answer it. So this is exactly what the students will see. Now, if you're running Flubaroo, you as the teacher have to take the quiz as an answer key. So if this was my math test or whatever, I would actually type in answer key down here. I would answer all the questions, hit submit. Now there's some wonderful YouTube videos out there that show you how to run Flubaroo. That's something that we'll dive into a little bit more at another point. As you can tell, very boring, very basic form. I want to spice it up. I want to add a little customization to it. So under change theme, there's a bunch of options over here. Now, what you can do, which is really easy, yep, I like farm life. It's great. I'm going to customize it a little bit, and it is saving. Now it's changing. Perfect, I love it. Or, I really don't like the font. I want to change the font. I can change the header image. This is where I can put my own image in. Now, what I do sometimes is put an image of South Sioux City, or if I have something specific for those students, like PE, I can take a picture of the PE teacher, or I can take a picture of something specific for them to see. It's just a little bit more customized for them. I can change the title, the description, the question font, the question size. I can change the color. I can change it to any way I want to. I can change the page background, the form background. So the page background here, the form background here. I can change options. If I want they're required to be bigger or smaller, whatever the case is, I can change everything right here. Really neat feature to have. Now once I have that, I want to click View Live Form. To me, this looks more inviting for students to fill out. I like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this URL, right-click copy, then this link, I can email it to my students, I can create a QR code, or I can put this on my website. Now here's what it looks like on my website. Now, the easiest thing to do, I have a link right here for 5th grade students. So when the 5th grade students come in, they see Roots Quiz. They click the Roots Quiz, it's going to take them directly to it. So on your website, it's pretty easy to create the link and give them access to that specific quiz that they're going to. I'm going to back out here real quick. The last thing you need to be aware of when you make a form, you want to make sure you name it something that you're going to be able to figure out quickly and easily for future years. I want to go to View Responses. This is when the students start to respond, or they start to come up with their answers. This is where it's going to fill out. It's going to plug into the spreadsheet. And while this is loading, one of the great features about Flubaroo is it gives you a separate grading tab. Once you have that grading tab, and there's an error here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reload. And while this is loading, the Flubaroo does give you that grading tab. You can take that grading tab and then you can see real quickly, real easily how well your students did. Did they score 50% on this question, 75% on this question? How did they, where did they fit? Where did they fall into this category? So I'm going to back out and show you a different way here. So what happens is, now I have my practice quiz here, and here's my responses. Maybe it'll open up this way. Let's see. And if it doesn't, what this shows is it's a spreadsheet, and on the spreadsheet all the data is going to be saved for you. It's going to be saved right there, which is very useful for you to run your next CFA or practice your next groups or whatever you need to do. See here. And if you want to change the theme, you can go back, you can change the theme again. You can get it to exactly the way you want it to look. Alright, and this isn't going to load, so what you'll have to do is once you run